First of all, you want to do something that's going to maintain muscle.
You'll lose approximately 1% of muscle every year from age 30.
Most of the metabolism loss with age is due to muscle loss.
You're going to work mostly your quads.
You're going to start to lose bone mineral density.
So the worst workout you can do is...
Hello and welcome to the Trinity Fit Over 40 podcast with me, Rob Burkhead.
And me, Ben Hughes. We are the co-founders of Trinity Transformation and creators of the Fit Over 40 method. And together with our world-class coaching team, we've helped more than 7,000 women over 40 to reclaim their confidence and feel strong, youthful, and amazing in their clothes over the past decade. For more information about what we do, go to www.fit40info.com.
So in today's podcast, we're going to reveal the worst workouts for accelerating aging, specifically for women over 40.
One of the most common things we hear all the time about exercise is the best type of exercise for you is the one that you enjoy the most. And whilst this may be true for women in their 20s and 30s with optimal hormone levels who can get away with doing basically anything, it's not necessarily true for women around menopause. We've worked with so many women in their 40s and 50s who felt stuck because the exercise that used to work for them didn't work anymore. So they were trying everything from HIIT workouts to spinning, gym classes, dog walking, jogging, swimming, but nothing was really working. They'd step on the scales after a hard week of workouts and see zero movement, or maybe even be heavier than before. But not only that, they also felt weaker, saggier, flabbier, with aching joints and low energy levels, and their body shape was continuing to change in a way they didn't like. Their waistline expanding and clothes getting tighter and tighter. Rather than feeling better and more confident in their clothes, they were starting to feel old beyond their years. So in today's podcast, we're going to cover the main type of exercise to avoid for women around menopause and what to do instead so you can get back to feeling your best.
Awesome. So first we need to kind of understand what's actually happening in the bodies for women over 40. So if you are in your 40s, 50s and 60s, there are significant changes happening physiologically that are unique to female bodies. So the main changes that are relevant to exercise choice are going to be the change in the female sex hormones. So this is estrogen and progesterone. And these fluctuate and fall through perimenopause. And this can start to happen for a lot of women earlier than they realize, earlier than a lot of the symptoms that you may notice. So it can be in your late 30s or early 40s typically. And this has a load of downstream effects on your body, on how you feel, on how you look. And just to give a really high level overview before we get into the exercise to kind of avoid and what to do instead, the knock-on effects of this are vast. So the first thing that's going to change is you're going to start to lose bone mineral density with reduced estrogen and progesterone if you don't do the right type of exercise and the right type of nutrition combined with that. The reason for this is estrogen helps to remodel bone, helps you to kind of rebuild that bone, and then progesterone helps to slow down bone turnover, so sort of breaking down the bone. So when you lose those hormones and they become a much lower level in the body, what happens is your body starts to break down bone more easily and it doesn't rebuild it so easily. So you start to lose it more rapidly. And that's why there's about a 25% loss of bone between age 50 and 54 for women going through menopausal changes. The second thing that happens is people start to lose muscle mass because estrogen is a bit like the female testosterone. It's anabolic for women. So this means it helps you maintain muscle. If you have less muscle, you'll feel flabbier, you'll feel saggier, you'll lose shape, you'll feel less strong. But you'll also get a slower metabolism that a lot of people don't realize. Most of the metabolism loss with age is due to muscle loss. You'll also be able to deal with carbohydrates worse. Muscle kind of acts as this sort of like sink for carbohydrates. You can almost get away with a lot more carbohydrate in your diet if you have more muscle. But if you lose it, which typically happens from age 30 onwards and accelerates through menopause due to those reducing hormones, you can't eat so many carbohydrates and without storing it basically as body fat around the middle. On top of those two things, these changes in the female sex hormones lead to more joint aches and pains. And you may be feeling this, which can really make you feel a lot older. Sore knees, sore hips, sore back, bad shoulders, frozen shoulders. A lot of this comes from, first of all, reduced estrogen levels, because estrogen is a natural anti-inflammatory, but then compounded by wrong exercise choices that make all of those things worse. And then the last key thing to bear in mind is estrogen helps to regulate cortisol, which is the main stress hormone. So it helps your body to kind of deal with higher stress situations. And this is anything from stressful work or home situations all the way to stressful, intense exercise like HIIT training and other things we're going to talk about today. And if you end up with chronically high cortisol, the main stress hormone, it causes a lot of problems. It triggers what we call the weight gain triangle, leading to increased fat storage, especially around the middle, and a number of other issues as well. You have worse cravings. You're generally just going to, it will slow your metabolism down as well. It generally make you age faster, and your body will not respond so well to certain types of exercise. So we've got to make sure that we factor all of these things in when choosing exercise. And just one quick note before we get into the exercise, whilst a lot of people we work with are on HRT, so hormone replacement therapy, it does not counteract all of those things I've just talked about. It can counteract a lot of menopause symptoms, like the ones you feel, like hot flushes, like night sweats, like brain fog to a degree. It doesn't necessarily, it actually pretty much doesn't, going by the research, stop you losing muscle. It may slow down bone density loss, but it doesn't stop you losing bone density. It doesn't get rid of all joint aches and pains. It can improve things a bit. So it's not something that solves everything. It generally does help a lot of our clients, but it's not just something you can take and then you don't have to worry about this anymore. You still got to get the exercise choices right. So the best type of exercise, or the exercise that's going to help you most to kind of reverse this aging process, or at least stop it in its tracks so you can feel years younger, is, first of all, you want to do something that's going to maintain muscle, and you want to do something that's going to maintain bone as well. Ideally, even build those. And there's a lot of evidence to show now people even in their 60s and 70s can build muscle and build bone back that's been lost. So it's never too late to start, but you really want to build those back, because those are two key pillars of aging well. This will then mean your metabolism is higher and you maintain your health. You reduce risk of osteoporosis, osteopenia, falling and fracturing, something which is really bad for health outcomes and mortality. Next, you want something that keeps cortisol levels low to moderate. This is the main stress hormone we talked about before, because if cortisol levels are chronically high, they're too high all the time, it will block your weight loss. It will lead to more cravings, more fat gain around the middle, and a slower metabolism, generally, which is all going to make you feel older. And then lastly, you want something that's not going to overload the joints, as if you do that, you'll probably get injured or be very, very sore, so you'll stop exercising. And then again, you're going to start to age more rapidly. So a lot of exercise doesn't actually do these things. It doesn't maintain muscle and bone. It doesn't keep cortisol levels low. It doesn't overload. It does overload the joints. So Ben, let's get into the specific types of exercise today. What's the first type of exercise you'd recommend people avoid?
So the first thing to avoid would be doing no exercise at all. So the worst workout you can do is no workout. So doing something is almost always going to be better than doing nothing. One thing that happens as everyone gets older is you'll lose approximately 1% of muscle every year from age 30. What this means, as you've already said, Rob, muscle is very strongly linked to your metabolism, is you end up with a slower and slower metabolism, meaning you'll struggle to keep weight off. You'll definitely struggle to lose weight. Your body will also become soft and shapeless as you lose muscle tone. You will also rapidly lose bone density, especially through menopause as well. So exercising will actually help you maintain bone density. And if you're inactive, your bone density will decrease. You will stiffen up. You will lose mobility. You'll see a decline in heart health, where your VO2 max, which is basically a measure of your physical cardio fitness, essentially, declines by roughly about 10% per decade after 40 in sedentary adults, and more rapidly in women due to hormonal shifts. And VO2 max basically measures how efficiently your body delivers and uses oxygen during exercise. And essentially, if your VO2 max is lower, that's going to be worse. So you're not only going to be less fit, but you're also going to be linked to a higher risk of heart disease. You're going to be at risk of having higher blood pressure, at the risk of having poor metabolic health. But also, the level of fitness you've got now, that is going to decline every decade as you get older. So if you're thinking that when you get into your 70s, your 80s, you still want to be physically active, you still want to be able to even just get around the house, climb the stairs, then you need to have a good level of fitness now. And if you're not doing any exercise, you're not going to be building any kind of level of fitness now, which means that you're going to be a lot less physically able when you get into your older years. The other thing that can cause issues as well is cholesterol levels. So post-menopause, LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, so kind of two types of cholesterol, HDL and LDL. LDL is the air quotes bad cholesterol, but those levels rise about 10 to 15% for women after menopause. And this is in people who are not doing exercise. So that's also an issue that can happen as well if you're not doing anything to counteract that. The next thing that can happen is you can end up with poor brain health from not exercising as well. So inactive women will show faster cognitive decline and a higher risk of dementia as well, compared to those who engage in regular exercise. The other thing that can happen is you can end up with poor mood, with kind of mental health issues as well. So anxiety, depression, and all of that can come from basically not doing any exercise. So even if we put aside the fact that if you're not doing any exercise, you're going to struggle to look your best, to feel better in your clothes. Putting that aside, there's a lot of other negative impacts that you're going to experience in terms of your overall physical health and well-being as a result of not exercising. So the first thing we'd recommend you avoid is don't just do no workouts. You want to be definitely doing something. But what's even worse than doing no workouts at all is doing no workouts and then adding in any kind of extreme dieting. So a lot of people these days are doing weight loss jabs, which basically they almost do the work for you. So you take these weight loss injections, they will make you eat less, which is basically the same as doing any kind of extreme diet. And then as a result, your weight will come down. The problem with that is, even if your weight's coming down, you're not just losing body fat, you're going to be losing muscle mass. And if you're also doing no exercise to try and maintain that muscle mass, you're going to lose a lot of muscle mass very quickly, especially if you're also around menopause, where you're naturally seeing that muscle mass decrease. You're going to lose a lot more bone mass than people who are exercising as well. And you're going to end up with a very, very slow metabolism. So you'll set yourself up for a big rebound when you stop the extreme diet. So the big takeaway here is, don't try, and especially as a woman around menopause, avoid trying to lose weight or achieve your fitness goals with any approach that doesn't involve exercise. Because if you do that, you might lose the weight, but you're going to end up with less muscle mass, weaker, feeling more frail, feeling flabbier, feeling saggier, having lower energy levels, having worse health. Overall, it's going to do more harm than good. So you need to find a way of exercising that kind of counteracts all those negative effects, whilst also still allowing you to achieve the goals you're looking to achieve.
The next type of exercise I would recommend you avoid, we've gone through no exercise, now we are going to go into actual exercise, is running. Running, jogging, couch to 5K, whatever you want to call it. And I think a lot of people get a bit upset when I talk about this with running, but there is a lot of good reason for this. And I see so many people running around where I live. I live by a pond. It's a sort of a lake, and people run around it all the time. And there's younger people running around it, and they're in good shape. And there's reason for this in terms of their body. And then there's people who are, there's quite a lot of women in their 40s, 50s running around there. And a lot of them are not in such good shape. They are kind of dragging their way round. They don't look energetic or youthful. They're not springing. They don't have a spring in their step. They're kind of plodding around, breathing heavy. It looks miserable. And I really would love to, I never do, but I'd love to say to them, look, you don't have to do this. And this is probably not the best thing you need to do for a number of reasons. If you want to look and feel your best, age well, and then get that spring in your step. So you could run if you want to, but you don't need to be doing it. And the reason for this, first of all, is running is catabolic. So it breaks down muscle. This isn't really a problem if you're in your 20s or 30s, because your body is so optimal, it just easily maintains and builds new muscle, even if you're doing running, especially if you're also, like a lot of young people now, strength training, going to the gym, eating lots of protein, they are easily able to maintain the muscle. If the only thing you do is running, you are going to be constantly breaking down your muscle. It's like taking a hammer and knocking a wall down, remodeling a house, but then you never do anything to build the wall back up again and build it even nicer. All you're doing is smashing the walls down in your house. So first of all, it's going to break down muscle. That's the thing that makes you firm, toned, lifts your bum, keeps your arms firm, flattens your stomach, raises your metabolism, so many good things. And you're getting rid of that if all you do is run. Second thing is it's really hard on the joints. So you put about 4 to 7 times your body weight through each of your knees. If you've already got sore knees, this is the last thing you want to be doing, especially when you've got lower estrogen levels from perimenopause onwards. You've got more inflammation, your knees are already at risk, probably also got more wear and tear in general. You might even have arthritis, like a lot of the clients that come to work with us. It is the last thing you want to be doing. So if you're around 12 stone, just to give you an example, this is the equivalent of carrying a grand piano on your back, walking around with a grand piano for your knees. You would think that would be a bad idea, but that's what you're doing when you're running as well. And then on top of all of this, running is pretty high intensity. If you're not already really lean, really toned, really strong, a really good runner, and you've done loads of things to maintain and build muscle, so you have that spring in your step, running is very hard. It's going to be really high intensity and it's going to spike cortisol, that stress hormone we've talked about before. It's going to trigger that weight gain triangle, which is going to lead to more fat storage around the middle. It's really not, it tends to lead to this kind of cardio bod, running bod, where people often end up kind of not particularly toned, but also with a bit of a belly. So running has all of these downsides. And then the last one is it doesn't improve mobility. It often actually stiffens people up because you're just staying, especially jogging, you're just staying in the same sort of position. You're not getting your knee up anywhere close, not to your chest, but, much higher up. You're not bending anything particularly. You're just kind of doing a slightly more exaggerated position than walking. So then if you're going to sit down at a desk all day, you'll actually end up more stiff, more at risk of injury. And again, that's going to make you feel older. If you just bend over and try and take the plug out of the bath and pull your back, because you've lost muscle and you've lost mobility, you'll get injured. You also can tend to kind of lose core strength as you get older because it doesn't help with that either. So really, there's not that many positives if you want to age well from running. It's something to add in as a sprinkle, as an extra, if you've already ticked all the other boxes that we talk about on this podcast. But most of the time, it's actually going to accelerate aging. And there's one last thing, actually. We were chatting on our team meeting a couple of weeks ago with our coaching team. There's some evidence that running, because you're jolting yourself up and down all the time, actually makes your skin sag and more drawn if you do it for years and years and years. So as you get older and you lose skin elasticity, again, not a problem in your 20s or 30s, but as you get older, it starts to really make your skin hang and get sort of jowly. And a lot of women we work with don't want that. They want to, feel as youthful as they can do realistically. And one of the big benefits a lot of them say when we work with them is, oh, my skin's glowing now. My husband says my skin glows, or my friends are commenting on it. And that's not as a result of doing things like this. It's doing quite different things. So second type of exercise. I know the first one was kind of a bit of a roundabout way of saying don't exercise, but the second one, which is a real form of exercise to avoid, is running. What else would you recommend people avoid, Ben?
Imagine living in a home that you've cherished for years.
You've done your best to keep it in good condition,
But no matter how much you clean, paint, or repair,
the problems keep piling up.
the cracks are showing, the roof is leaking, and it feels like everything is getting worse despite your best efforts.
For many women, losing weight around menopause feels just like that.
You've tried diets, workouts, and advice,
But the results don't come and the frustration keeps growing.
that's where our Fit Over 40 private coaching program comes in.
Think of us as your expert renovation team.
We know exactly how to fix the root issues, rebuild your confidence, and create lasting results, just like restoring a home to its best condition.
If you're ready to finally see results that last,
Go to www.fit40info.com. So this one is quite similar to running, really, but spinning. So anything from sort of doing gym classes, spin classes at the gym, to things like Peloton. So again, this can be very high intensity, which basically comes with all the same advantages you've just said, Rob, in terms of leading to that weight gain triangle and causing you to hang on to that excess weight around the middle. It's also mostly cardio focused. So it also works in terms of muscles. You're going to work mostly your quads when you're either spinning or cycling. You can kind of, even if you are like clipped in on a road bike with proper road shoes, and you can then sort of pull a little bit with your hamstrings, but even then your quads are really going to be doing, which quads are the muscles on the front of the legs, they're really going to be doing the majority of the work. So the rest of your legs, things like your bum, your arms, your stomach, your back, they don't really get any workout at all. It's quite especially if you're sat down as well whilst you're pedaling, it's quite a one-dimensional workout, cycling. And I mean that you can see, if you look at, for example, Tour de France riders or any kind of professional cyclist, you'll see they have a really tiny little spindly lower upper body where it looks like they're kind of wasting away on the top half. And then they have all the muscle and everything they've got is just kind of concentrated in their lower legs, calves and that. So it's not really a balanced workout that works the entire body. It's also going to, if you're doing, for example, a lot of things, especially if it's a class that you're attending, because they want to kind of make it worth it that you've taken the time to come to the gym, those classes are going to be, they're quite long, they're going to be like 45 minutes, an hour. And if you're doing like quite an intense cardio workout for that amount of time, it's going to accelerate muscle loss. So it's going to add to that sort of age-related muscle loss. You will boost your cardio fitness if you go and do loads of gym classes and spinning and that kind of thing. You will get fitter. It will be good for, we talked about before, if you do no exercise, you're going to see that big decline in your VO2 max, your cholesterol, your heart health, all those things. It will help with that. So it will definitely help with your fitness. So if you have the choice between doing nothing or going and doing some spin classes, go and do the spin classes. But in terms of if you've got the goal to feel fit, to feel toned, to feel amazing in your clothes, drop dress sizes, lose weight in kind of a sustainable way, then it's just not the way to do it. The other thing it doesn't do, just like running as well, it doesn't help with mobility or strength, because you are stuck in that kind of one position, locked in on a bike. It's almost, I'd say it's more rigid than running, because you're like sat on a thing where only half your body is really working. So the bottom half is working and the top half is not so much. And if you already have tight hips or a bad back, and if you're already in a position where, I think a lot of women that we work with they're sat down for a large portion of the day, especially if they're working in an office environment. So you're sat at a desk most of the day, and then you go and do your exercise, and then you sit on a bike to do your exercise. It's just going to exacerbate that position, that sort of sat down, hunched over position that you're in most of the time anyway. So yeah, next one to avoid, which is not necessarily going to be best for women around menopause, is spinning.
Cool. And the last one I'd recommend people avoid, again, for some of the similar reasons, but also some unique reasons, is HIIT. So this is high intensity interval training. And this is anything from, like, Joe Wicks does a lot of HIIT, body pump classes, body attack. Most gym classes are HIIT circuit classes. An old school version was Insanity, which I don't think anyone does anymore, but you never know. But the clue is kind of in the name with HIIT. It's high intensity interval training, which can work really well for women in their 20s and 30s. Most of the data on this stuff is done on people in their 20s. So you'll see all this data thrown out saying HIIT's really, really good. But for most women over 40, it's actually not good at all. It will overstress the body, and it will trigger the weight gain triangle, especially for women who already have stressful lives. So their cortisol, their baseline stress hormone levels, already quite high due to, working in a busy job, like you said, Ben, at a desk all day and back-to-back meetings all day, dealing with problems at work, dealing with issues at home. Maybe they're also caring for aging parents. All of that's very stressful. Then you add this intense exercise on top of it, and it pushes the body over the edge. Triggering that weight gain triangle again will lead to leptin resistance, increased cravings, insulin resistance, and more fat storage around the middle, dealing with carbs worse, and thyroid deregulation, slowing down your metabolism. A perfect cocktail for gaining more fat and not being able to lose it, especially around the middle. On top of that, it's often high impact. So not only is it high intensity, it's high impact. So it's hard on the joints. You're going to be aching more. You're going to be really, really sore afterwards. And if you're really sore all the time, you get injured maybe as well, because it's a lot of fast movement, high risk. Often people then go backwards and start losing muscle again, start getting less tone, start gaining weight again when they get injured. And that's something we work really hard with clients to avoid. And an analogy for this, and really all the types of exercise we talked about today that are other than not working out, which obviously is kind of not exercising, but all of these, running, spinning, HIIT, it's kind of like cutting the grass with scissors. You could cut your lawn with scissors, but it will be really hard work. And at the end of the day, the result still won't be very good. It still won't look good at all, but you'll be really hot, really sweaty, really tired. And that's kind of what they're all like for women over 40. So those are kind of things to avoid if you want to avoid accelerated aging as a woman in your 40s, 50s, 60s. Ben, what would you say is the best thing to focus your time on, especially if you're short on time, like a lot of the people we work with?
So in our experience, low impact strength training, or LIST, is by far the most effective training for women over 40. This involves slow, controlled movements with body weight or with moderate weights. Basically, you're moving against resistance. So this could be anything from kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells. It could be machines at the gym. It could even just be doing a body weight type exercise. The benefits of this are, firstly, it keeps stress on the body low, meaning your body stays in an optimum state for losing weight and toning up. The second one is you will build muscle mass and you will build strength. This will tone you up all over. It will reduce bingo wings, flatten your stomach. You will see more kind of visible muscle tone on your body and firmness. And at the same time, that will increase your metabolism, meaning you can eat more and you can still lose weight easily. And once you've got to your ideal weight, you can maintain that weight easily as well. It will also improve bone density better than any other form of exercise will. It'll improve your mobility as you are you're moving your body through its full ranges of motion. So it will also keep you mobile, and it will also kind of build strength through those ranges of motion as well, compared to just kind of static stretching. There's no jumping around. It's gentle on your joints. There is a low injury risk. And, our coaches as well, with this type of exercise, you can really, like, for example, if you are running, there's no way that you can not use your knees For example, if you struggle with your knees, there's no way you can kind of take that out of the equation. Whereas with low impact strength training, if our coaches are coaching someone, they have a particular issue with maybe their knees, their back, their shoulder, we'll just say, right, let's modify these exercises, remove that exercise and change it for something else that works for you and your particular body and your limitations, if you have any. The other thing is it still improves cardio fitness. So people don't really often realize that lifting weights will still improve your cardio fitness. You'll still raise your heart rate. You'll still get yourself out of breath. And it's also very, very efficient because list training is the most effective way to see results as a woman over 40. It means you don't have to do that much of it in order to see great results. So our clients train about 3 times per week for about 40 to 45 minutes. And just doing that, they'll lose 1 to 2 stone over 12 weeks, whilst at the same time getting more toned, getting firmer, improving that muscle mass and bone density. They get all those benefits from just 3 pretty short workouts a week. Final benefit though is it can all be done from home as well. So if you're someone who's short on time, like a lot of our clients, they have quite a demanding career. They don't necessarily have hours and hours and hours to spend exercising. But what they can do is just do a workout from home with very, very simple equipment in a very short space of time, not go out somewhere, not have to drive to the gym in order to do that gym class or whatever it is. So it's very, very time efficient too. So list training is by far the number one thing that you need to be doing. And that should make up the majority of your exercise approach if you're a woman over 40. As well as that though, if you want to add in additional exercise, the key with that is keeping it really kind of a low impact and really sort of gentle. So as well as that, we recommend anything like walking, yoga, Pilates, swimming, even like gentle cycling. Anything gentle like that is a good way to sort of burn some additional calories and just keep your body moving. But what's going to lead to the majority of the changes that you'll see if you're looking to drop a dress size and fit into your clothes is going to be that list training. So if you just did the weights workouts and nothing else, you'd still see amazing results. Whereas if you did all the other stuff, you could do loads of walking and yoga and swimming and all of that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily going to give you a really dramatic change in terms of your body. So the best combination for most people is doing those 3 list workouts and then just making sure you're getting out and doing a decent amount of walking. So keeping your activity level high. And we have countless examples of clients who swapped that high intensity training, spinning, running and gym classes for list training instead, or took up list training after a period of not exercising and their body shape changed. They quickly started to feel more energetic, their fitness improved, their strength improved. They no longer felt kind of held back from doing anything. Everything felt easier for them. And then health markers in a lot of cases for a lot of our clients return to normal and they get back to feeling younger as well as looking better. So here's just one example from one of our coaching clients, Rachel.
Yeah, so this is Rachel and she's in her mid-50s and she's an executive coach. And Rachel said, before joining Trinity, I was a size 14 and 11 stone 2. I tried the 5-2 diet, which worked reasonably well for the first half a stone. However, I could never really get below that. And whenever I got stressed or the winter came around, I'd put all the weight back on again. I've trained for and run half marathons. Getting fit wasn't an issue, but losing weight and keeping it off was. I've now lost 2 stone and am now lighter than at any point in my adult life. My legs are so much more toned and I don't feel pear-shaped anymore. My health and fitness, which were good to start with, have just got better. And the biggest difference is in muscle tone. I can finally look at my bum in the mirror without shame and embarrassment. So this is really inspiring for Rachel for a couple of reasons. Obviously, she did lose a couple of stone and got to the lightest weight in her adult life. But more importantly, her body shape changed completely. And if you've ever seen photos of Rachel, she's one of many clients we like to champion. She's now got abs in her 50s, which is phenomenal. And she's now building up to sailing around the world. She's done really well through her business after doing this. She's got so much more confident. And she's now got the confidence to start this lifelong goal she had to sail around the world. So she's got her dream yacht, sailing boat with her partner. And they're now preparing. Each year she does a few more things. She's done a yacht master qualification, a number of other things so they can then sail all around the world and see the world in her retirement. So super inspiring. She's a mum of 2. She's a busy working woman and she's achieved all of that. So Ben, where can people go if they want to find out more about the program Rachel and thousands of other women have used to counteract aging and feel their best, even in their 40s, 50s, and 60s.
So to find out more, just head to www.fit40info.com and you can get all of the details you need on that page.
Awesome. So that just about wraps up for today's podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll catch you next week for another episode. We shall see you then. If you're fed up with trying everything and seeing no results,
Watching your weight creeping up and struggling to fit into your clothes,
and you're looking for the fastest and easiest way to get your ideal weight
and never have to worry about your weight or health again,
you can save yourself years of trial and error by letting us take care of the hard work for you in our Fit Over 40 private coaching program.
over the past decade, our world-class team have personally guided more than 7,000 women to take back control of their health and confidence, and more importantly, maintain those results for life.
If you're ready to finally get results at last and find out how we can help you do that too,
Go to www.fit40info.com.